play tonight. Series tied at 1. Heat and 76ers from Miami, 7 o'clock on TNT. And Joel Embiid expected to play. So, I want to say he will be back. We can't quite say that. It's semantics at this point. But we all expect to see Joel Embiid out there. If Embiid plays, how does it change the series in terms of the deployment or lack thereof of Hassan Whiteside from Miami? Because they've been going more with Kelly Olynyk, who's a more versatile big.
Well, they shake off the cobwebs, and he's going to have an opportunity to play. And Miami, this is a luxury for them because they're one of the few teams in the league that actually has a 7-1 guy that's long and athletic on the roster still that can come out and play. So I'm looking for Hassan Whiteside to kind of match those minutes. Obviously, he's not the player that Embiid is, but they actually have someone to guard him.
Well, Whiteside has been complaining about his minutes a little bit this season. He hasn't been happy with his minutes early on in this playoff series. But guess what? He's going to get all the minutes he can handle tonight because Kelly Olynyk, as good as he is offensively, he has absolutely no chance of guarding Joel Embiid one-on-one. They're going to need Hassan Whiteside tonight. They're going to need his defense. They're going to need his rebound. They're going to need him to keep Embiid off the board. So they're going to need Whiteside tonight. So I think the best thing to happen to Whiteside is Joel Embiid coming back because that forces him to play. How many times have we been playing as bigs and the coach will tell you, hey, we're going to go small. It's a small line. It's not your night tonight.
That's what happens, right?
We've been in Hassan Whiteside's shoes where they say, listen, it's not your night tonight. Well, guess what? There's a true big on the floor. Hassan Whiteside will have to play. Now it's up to Hassan Whiteside to deliver.
Well, Brendan, at the same time, when Shaq would come in town, we playing tonight. We're in that line.
I never got too hyped for that matchup. You're on your own. When the big fella came to town, especially early on, boy, it was no fun.
Hey, man, I'm just glad to play, Brendan. I'm glad to be out there.
Be careful what you wish for, huh? So let me ask you a question about Ben Simmons. How does his game change, if at all, Brendan, with Embiid back?
Well, I think his game stays the same to a certain degree because he's still the point guard on that team. He's still a playmaker. But when things slow down, now instead of constantly trying to have Ben Simmons run multiple screen rows and get the ball back to him, now when you slow down, you say, hey, okay, let's see what Embiid has. Let's work it to him in the post. Let's get him the ball a little bit more. And this is what they need. This is why you need a Joel Embiid because in the half court, he's a better half court player than Ben Simmons is at this stage in Ben Simmons' career. You could throw him the ball. That gives him a true number one option, and I think that's the difference.
It is a big man convention here on NBA.
Yes. Oh, we bring another big man in.
Hey, live to Miami and welcome Hall of Famer Kevin McHale. And Kevin, you maybe heard some of the stuff we were talking about here about Whiteside being more needed for Miami tonight. But just talk about Embiid coming back. What do you expect from the big fella tonight?
Well, hopefully he comes into the game and lets the game come to him. Sometimes you try to make up for the last 3 weeks. In the first minute you're on the floor, you try to get every rebound. You do all these things. You turn the ball.
Young Philly team on the road. Talk to me about how important the first 5 minutes are. What you'd be preaching to the guys if you were in that lineup, in that locker room, and what are we going to be looking for?
Well, here's the thing. If you're Philly, you're saying, we know what they're going to do. Miami kind of showed their hand the last game. They're going to be really physical. They're going to try to blow up dribble handoff. They're going to try to blow up screens. They're going to stand people up. They're going to push people out. So if you're Brett Brown, you're going to be saying, we got to survive this first 5 minutes. We got to come into Miami. The place is going to be rocking. They're going to be excited. They're going to come out. But we just got to survive the first 4 or 5 minutes. Joel, just go out there. Embiid, I tell him, get some offensive rebounds, pass the ball. Just take the open shot, don't force anything, and let our offense flow. They make more passes than anybody in the half-court sets, and just let them go out there and get a rhythm. So you really got to survive that first 5 minutes, and then after that, like I tell everybody when you're in the playoffs, have fun, man. You play all year long to come to this, and you're going to be worried. Like I always like shake my head and look at players who are they don't play well in the playoffs. How can you not play well here? I'd play well if I was playing tonight, and I'm 60 years old. But there's a great vibe in this building already, and so and at some point you got to go. If you're going to win championships, at some point you got to enjoy this element. You got to enjoy this style of game, this type of game. So at some point, Brett Brown's got to say, okay, the initial 5 minutes is up. Let's go do us, fellas.
Kevin McHale has some of the best energy in the biz, one of the best analysts. He'll be on full display tonight on TNT. Coach, thank you so much for joining us, man. We will be watching. Enjoy the game.
Okay, guys. Great talking with you.
Thanks,
Appreciate it, Coach.
He's an absolute blast. I mean, on the air, in the green room, he's the greatest. He never stops talking, and I never stop listening. Now, Joel Embiid's going to be wearing the mask tonight. Have either of you had to wear a mask, during games, and how did that impact your play?
Oh, I haven't had to wear a mask, but I've taken a nasty hit to the orbital. And it's one of those things that if you're going to play, you have to play. You can't think about it. You can't worry about it. You've got to be free, and it's got to be clear from your mind.
I've never actually been hit in the face or had to wear a mask or anything like that, so my pretty face was always on display.
You guys were too tall, weren't you? Nobody could get up that high to hit you, huh?
I'm just saying, this face was always on display.
How did Ntilikina get that? How did he hit Embiid like that?
I don't know, but I've never worn a mask, so I don't know what that's all about. I played with Richard Hamilton. He was always wore a mask, but I never had to wear one myself.
I mean, I got hit one time. I couldn't feel my face for a month. Now, I wasn't smart enough to complain about it and put a mask on, but man, I'll never forget that feeling.
Did you have to do this? Can't feel my face?
I was like, oh, hold on, this is odd. There's something going on here.
Let's take a look at some of the historic numbers that Ben Simmons has put up through the first 2 games in this series. 41 combined points, 22 combined assists in his first 2 playoff games. And he's in very good company. Steph, Paul, Johnson, Jordan, Robertson, West. It goes on and on. That's a very exclusive list. And you know, Donovan Mitchell is doing insane things for Utah.
Yeah.
55 combined points in his first 2, most for a guard in his first 2 playoff games ever. But put what Ben Simmons is doing here into perspective, Brendan.
Man, what Ben Simmons is doing is absolutely phenomenal just because Joel Embiid obviously not playing. He stepped up, took the role, became the team's best player, was a playmaker, was aggressive, got guys involved, always seemed to make the right decision with the ball. And even though it was his first playoff experience, the moment never seemed too big for him. He never got antsy, never got too jumpy. He was coming down the lane, making smart decisions, finding teammates, and attacking the basket.
No, and one thing I love about what he's done is that he's kept going to the basket. And you know it, Brendan, as a young player, once you don't want to mess up, you don't want to make mistakes. And he's done a great job of just going in there, not thinking, being mentally tough, and letting everybody know, hey, man, I'm 6'10", 6'11", driving in the lane. I'm bigger than you, so I'm going to keep going and being aggressive. And things will happen well for him. I'm not sure if they win this series or not, but I love the way that he's attacking and getting other players involved.
Guys,